and welcome to the Failcast. We've got a German with us today, and once again Jesse, because he won't leave. I'm Jack.
Hello, America.
That's Caliban. No, that's Jesse, isn't it?
I haven't said anything. I'm Caliban. I'm the German.
He's an angry German.
Yes, I'm very angry all the time.
Yeah.
Due to being German and whatnot.
And Germans
I'm
know
German.
time quite well.
Hmm?
Germans know time quite well.
Time. Why?
It's a stereotype.
You're stepping on some racial tension there, Jesse. I'd back off.
No. Why do Germans in general know time quite
I think it's
well?
because you're supposed to be very efficient.
Ah, yes, we are. It's actually my favorite bit of this comes from Top Gear, when Michael Fassbender was the guest with Jeremy, and Jeremy remarked on the fact that the guy is half Irish and half German. So his life's motto must be that he must do everything perfectly tomorrow. So yeah, I guess our cliche is that we do everything perfectly, which, there's worse things in being known for making stuff really, really, really well.
I was talking to you about this before, though. I don't know why the British have the stereotype of having really bad food. In my opinion, we have the best food.
But only if it's well prepared. Have you tried badly prepared British food? I mean,
yeah, but have you tried badly prepared anything food? That argument applies no matter what food you're talking about.
That's not true. You can basically eat badly prepared American food and it still tastes like deep fried fat and calories.
Surely that just means it's unskilled to make.
Yes, of course, but there are lots of unskilled cooks who think they can prepare British food.
Well, surely that's a problem with the cook and not the British people in general. We have the best food when it's done properly.
I think we could argue about this all day, but you have really
By the way,
great
whenever
food.
I speak, wait, yes, no? Okay, it's gone now. It's just when I was speaking before, when I was talking about food, I was getting like some sort of echo from someone else's mic, so that must have been taken
I'm using
care
headphones, so...
It might have been mine because I was laughing at the time.
of. Well, good to know that I amuse Jesse. And by the way, you do seem to have this habit, and it's happened again,
This is interesting, I get it stereo now.
Yeah.
With a slight delay.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Strange.
And I'll get it from you as well. I think it's Jesse then, surely he's the neutral third party.
He's Switzerland.
You know, they say, oh, Switzerland was really neutral during the war. Do you know how they were neutral? They just shoot down anyone who crossed their border.
That's not true. They don't just shoot down anyone across the border. If you manage to get an army into Switzerland, they just all run back into the mountain to their bunkers, and you'll have to fight a guerrilla war against people who are all armed with assault rifles and, know the territory truly well. And you can't just bomb Switzerland because there are mountains there. What are you going to do? Blow up the Alps?
Yes.
I think it was more along the lines of, hey, we marched into your country. Oh, good. Would you like to open an account?
Aha, Swiss bankers.
That's not true. They already had the accounts, usually.
Do you know, during the war, when obviously US was primarily fighting Japan, and they wanted to figure out a way to demoralize them, so they thought, well, if we deface something, if we damage their culture, so they tried to use their air force to paint Mount Fuji red.
That's almost as silly as the Japanese using hot air balloons to bomb the American coast.
That wasn't quite silly, because one of those bombs fell not too far from where I lived. Some of those bombs did make it to the U.S. A few of them made it to Northern California, where I'm from, and there was one bomb that fell not too far from the town I grew up in. And they were incendiary, so if they had gone off, our forest would have been quite burnt down. That would not have made us happy.
Do you think we could make a drinking game of all the podcasts that Jesse's been on so far? Of just every mention he does of geography in Wyoming, and every time he uses the phrase "my hometown" or something. Or
No,
I grew up in.
I haven't mentioned Wyoming yet.
Not yet today.
You have mentioned it, so now I know that Jesse is from Wyoming.
The silliest sounding state in the whole of America.
Which is, oddly enough, slowly turning German. We have quite a few.
Wyoming's...
We have quite a few exchange students at our university, and I think every year a German exchange student falls in love with an American. And it's happened about 3 years in a row now where we've had a German gal get married and become a permanent resident. And all the Germans who keep coming here keep coming back. They'll extend their stay, they'll extend their visas and everything.
It's a good thing you didn't say Russian, Russian falling in love with an American man and getting married and stuff, because that just would be incredibly racist.
But apparently he has discovered our plan. We must destroy him. I mean nothing. Sorry.
Wait,
Yeah,
Jack, what do you mean by if I'm Russian and American?
Well, there's the whole stereotype with Russian brides, isn't there?
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be racist, it would just be very practical on their part.
Why, what's wrong with
mail
Russia?
ordering a Russian bride. Can you send her back then after 30 days if she isn't, up to standard, or is there, money back guarantee? And what if, if she is there a warranty for 2 years?
Since
if,
she's
falls apart?
Since she's like a commodity, do you think they ship her over in a crate, in like a crate filled with packing pellets?
Only you would view women as a commodity, Jack. I think there's a good webcast you might want to get on with Caliban here, if it hasn't already happened.
What's that? Supervillains of Europe?
No, because I think, Caliban, didn't you just finish one, or are going to start one?
I am going to start the Sexism Communicast in about an hour or something. Less now, yes.
Oh, it's a shame I don't get on that then.
But still, we could have fitted you in there, but I think it's too late to get another one in there now. But I'm gonna do another Sexism Communicast soon, I guess.
Why? I've got to ask, why are they doing Sexism Communicasts?
Everyone in these forums seems to be, arguing about sexism all the time, so I thought maybe we could try for a civil discussion by having people talk to each other. Because in my experience, if you get someone face-to-face or voice-to-voice with someone, they won't just, start insulting each other instantly.
I wouldn't quite say that.
Yeah, but the thing is, the place where it all falls down is that people who are going to get on this podcast are already kind of inherently friendly with the other people on the podcast, and to some extent share similar views.
Well, we have Evil Smurf, Toastiest Zombie, Lilani, and
Oh
Phasmel.
dear God, you got toast. Oh, okay, that changes everything.
Thank you very much. That I have high hopes now. But I shall only be the host. I won't discuss. I'm just there to shout at people if they start insulting each other.
Oh,
and I will be supported.
For the podcast, can you say something very angry in German?
You should have told me of something very angry in German.
You can have a few minutes to think about it if you want.
I can do that, but I need something to be angry about.
Caliban, think about the French.
They make lovely food, and I met a very nice French lady last summer, and also, in German, French is also a euphemism for giving a head.
Oh, okay.
So my last girlfriend would always joke that she was really good at French, and decent at speaking it.
Yeah, that's not what French means in English slang.
I know, which is why this joke only works if you are German and, talking German.
Oh God, is that what you were hinting at in the PMs the other day?
I think so, yes. I may have made this very tasteless joke to you before.
Oh God. Oh, fair enough.
And I'll try, if I get worked up enough, I will shout something very angry in German later on.
Just don't give us any forewarning, just go for it.
Of course, but, I have to do it later on because then it will be more of a surprise when I suddenly start screaming angry German at you.
Yeah. I remember when I was visiting my uncle, and he collects, things from World War II, and he had bayonet blades from the English, German, and French armies. The German one was very short, the English one was middling, and the French one was almost like a saber. So my immediate response to that was obviously something along the lines of, well, they're just trying to get as far away from their opponents as they can, aren't they?
You know how French weapons are built?
Oh.
They have a special firing mode in them. A German weapon, if it comes with, burst fire, single shot, and full auto fucking fire. The French weapon has only one fire mode. Full auto surrender. If you press the trigger, it instantly falls to the ground.
Would it be like those little flag guns that you squeeze the trigger, a flag comes out and says bang, but with them it's just a white flag.
It's just a white flag, yeah.
Yeah.
At least the French will come out. At least the French will come out to meet you. The Dutch are too busy on their break time, which is mandatory.
Smoking and drinking coffee.
Yeah. As we discovered.
We were talking to Watson and he shed some light on that.
The French, they will come out to meet you, but they see you and they just run away, you know, can't help it.
They come out to meet you, but it's a decoy.
No, that's the Italian. You know how the Italian war flag looks, you know? The signal to attack for the Italians?
What is it?
It's 3 white stripes on a white ground. That's, you know, Italians for you.
So, games.
Ah, yes, video games. There was, you know...
Yeah, so I finally got into playing Far Cry 3.
Oh, I haven't played that yet. Is it good?
Oh, it's a very good game. Of
Or is
course,
it...
what?
Is it also called Tiger Mauling Simulator 2012?
Yeah. Thing is, though, one of the major villains is called, Hoyt von something. And so I fully expected him to be German. But he's not, he's English. Or something like that.
With the name Hoyt van something? That sounds more like a Netherlands guy to me, a Dutch guy, really.
Maybe, but I wasn't expecting him to have the accent that he did have.
So they stunted your expectations and surprised you with a twist.
Oh yeah, he did, but then he lit a guy on fire in a furnace and it was awesome.
Seems like a cool guy, I mean...
He'd fit right in with the rest of the... Oh god. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think that everyone in Far Cry 3 is a terrible, terrible person, from what I've heard.
No, I just very nearly went past the line with a joke.
Ah.
Oh, like we
Yeah.
didn't do that on the last podcast.
Well, fair enough. We got Watson to play Corruption of Champions, but...
Well, the last game I bought myself was Hotline Miami now in the Steam Indie Spring Sale something or other. And I gotta say, I greatly enjoyed it. It's, you know, incredibly violent, but very much stylized. You can enjoy bashing people's skulls in without feeling too guilty about it.
Which game was this?
Hotline Miami.
Is that
right, yeah.
the overhead view where you run into
Exactly.
the room and you only get like one hit before you're dead?
Yes, exactly. And, you know, you run into the room, and first time you're in the room, you see an enemy, you can't click fast enough because the enemy instantly turns around and bashes your brain in. You see yourself lying on the floor with your brain splattered on the wall and your mask flying around and stuff. Next time you try it, you run into the room and get brained again because you misclicked because the controls are a bit fiddly. Third time, you manage to pick up a weapon beforehand, you run and click the wrong button, throw the weapon at the wall and get brained again. And that happens about every single time, ever.
You know, XCOM Enemy Unknown?
Yes, I have played it for a bit, not played through.
There's a game being made and the combat mechanic works something like that. But it's a zombie game, and basically, you know, you control, obviously your player character. And then there's NPC-controlled allies that you can bring with you, like you can bring 1 or 2 allies with you into an instance, because each instance is for, like, gathering supplies. Because the other aspect of it is sort of base maintenance, like dealing with all the people you've collected, keeping them safe, and keeping them stocked in supplies, which is what you have to go out and do. And yeah, the combat thing on randomly generated maps is a lot like XCOM. Like, you know, you have the zombies that obviously they move after you move, and the bladed weapons don't do much against them, and guns make lots of noise. But then there are also enemy survivors who have guns, and bladed weapons are very effective against them, that sort of thing.
I think I know the game.
Sounds interesting.
I've heard about that game. It's been being worked on for quite a long time. Because it was been over a year since I heard of it.
Yeah.
But the only question that springs to mind is, brauchen wir wirklich noch ein Zombie-Spiel?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've just provided me with my new ringtone.
Interesting. Okay. You said you wanted a ringtone. It could have gone for, you know, a more long-winded rant.
I remember though, because I'm an impersonator, and a friend of mine got me to record something so he could have it as the ringtone that he has when he gets a text, and he forgot that he'd set it as that, and he was getting a taxi home after a night out when he got a text, and so suddenly his phone alarmed the taxi driver by going, "Stupid fat herbicides, got him."
That's an interesting situation to be in, I get it.
Yeah.
I was reading a...
And then again,
Sorry.
Everyone loves my golem.
Then again, always startled by when I get a text, you know, I've never expected, and then suddenly my sound goes off and I just flinch, no matter what I'm doing.
See, I just have mine on vibrate.
Doesn't make it better. If I have it on vibrate and it's lying somewhere, it's about whoop, and I'm still flinching, or, you know,
I was reading
dropping
a
something, or...
webcomic, and the gal had set her ringtone to, you know, the Metal Gear games when you get spotted, it makes that loud sound.
Dun,
yeah.
with the
Yeah.
exclamation
She
mark.
sets it and she's like, this is great. And the next panel, she's in the middle of a class and it just goes off and she's hiding underneath the table.
Oh god.
Ouch. But it would have been very appropriate if you had gotten another, text message then, and the teacher spots her hiding underneath the table when the second message arrives.
Yeah, that should be a text message thing, and the call thing should be Snake, Snake, Snake.
My friend and I did put on our phones the chest opening sound for Legend of Zelda.
Oh, that's good.
And every time it would go off, we just raise our phone to the air like we just got a phone.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's very awesome, yes. I must admit my ringtone isn't anything special anymore. I used to have the Mortal Kombat theme as a ringtone for a while, but it just started, fights around me all the fucking time. People fighting everywhere, punching everything, and so that didn't work out. So it switched to something more mellow, now.
Yeah, I understand that German people are very efficient at combos.
Of course we are, If we are in fighting games, we do the combo correctly. We do the input correctly.
Oh,
And
yeah.
afterwards, we not laugh at our opponents, but we behave correctly.
Yeah. Well, okay, speaking of sounds that things make, you should never ever set your favourite song as your alarm because you will learn to hate it.
My roommate did that in college, and I still know that song and I hate it so much.
What song is it?
I don't know what the song is called, but the lyrics are, I'm on fire, and now I think I'm ready to bust a move, and it goes on from there. And I have the
That's
melody
amazing.
in my head. The thing is, he would annoy me so bad because he would set it really early in the morning, but he wouldn't get up because his class was later in the day. So it's at 7 o'clock, damn thing goes off, I'm out of bed, he still sleeps in for another 2 hours or so.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I almost went to violence at that point, but I didn't.
I can't imagine you becoming violent over anything.
No.
But your roommate sounds like a real dick.
Oh no, he's a cool guy, it's just that phone I wanted to break so bad.
Still, the song is a bit reminiscent of, him just jumping out of bed and starting to break dance.
Oh no, he was a really heavy sleeper, and there were times where he would fall out of his bed because it was really low to the floor.
And just not wake up.
He would just be sleeping on the floor, his butt sticking up in the air because he's at an odd angle, and he would just be like that, and I'd take a picture and then send it to his phone later.
He really was a very heavy sleeper, yes. The only good friend of mine has that problem. We were on a holiday together when we were younger, and he did fall out of bed, made a very loud thump. It was an audible sound, and I don't know, I think he landed on something, not only on the floor, but there was toys scattered there, and he just kept on snoring.
Oh, God.
I had my first year in college, I did what we call a sailor's fallout. I guess like the idea is that sailors during the war, if they heard an alarm, they would like roll out of their bed, especially since they had bunks. In my first year, our dorm room, the desk was underneath my bed. I had raised my bed as a bunk, and I'm next to the ceiling, and the fire alarm goes off at midnight. I roll off, land on the chair, and then fall into the floor.
Oh, God. I once had a very big wooden bunk bed, and it's not like that anymore, but all we did was just cut it down so it was a normal bed, which is quite odd. But it used to be this bunk bed, and my friend's little sister, who was must have been about 7 at the time, was sort of hassling me and my friend, and she came into my room, and she was just bouncing on the top bunk for whatever reason. Cracked her head on the ceiling, and plaster has fallen away where she hit her head. So I'm just sitting around, and I can just look at the ceiling and just see this gap in the sort of flawless paint.
Was there any blood involved as well, or just?
No. But it was just. It was one of the things where we're just sitting there playing Halo and just said, "Poof!" Ah!
It's a surreal situation, I'll give you that.
It was quite odd. Of course.
I really don't have anything, I don't have any funny bed stories like this. I don't know why. I just, sleep in beds or do other stuff in them which doesn't cause me to fall out, generally speaking.
Well, then you're not doing it right.
That is not true, but my bed is quite big, so there's enough room for movement. Let's just call it that. Yes, movement.
Yeah, let's not scare Jesse.
Exactly. We did manage to almost break it, though, once.
Alright, yes, you can stop talking now. Oh.
Well, everyone was contributing, so I felt obliged to share something.
I remember I was once playing a game of cricket, and I was retrieving the ball, and I stood up and headbutted my friend in the balls.
Ow!
Yeah.
But the only thing that happened to me was when I was playing golf. It wasn't me, it was a friend of mine, and he managed to hit the ball behind him somehow.
German golf, where every hole that isn't a hole-in-one is a failure.
Yes, exactly. That's why, German golfers are always depressed, because it's really hard to do.
Fair enough.
Yes, he managed to I don't know what he did. It seemed like, normal swing, but the ball ended up behind him, right in another guy's junk.
Oh, God.
Just remember,
We were all very impressed with their skill.
Just remember, golf is a Scottish sport, so you do need to be drunk to play it and have fun.
Not only drunk, but drunk and angry, I believe.
I don't think the Scots are angry. I think just physical violence is how they communicate before the spoken word came about.
So when the Scots running at you with a claymore, he's just trying to say hello.
Unless you're British, then he's really pissed off.
Oh, yeah. Especially with Yorkshire people, because historically we stole each other's sheep.
Good thing I'm German, then.
Yeah. There was a Scottish comedian, and he was going on about how he was in Glasgow waiting for a bus at night, and there was no one else there. And this comedian, this really drunk Scottish guy comes around the corner, and he's just standing there for a while. And after a while, he turns to him and goes, "Hey, fatty, give us a pound. You're getting a stab." So the guy then just goes into this massive tirade about how, well, paying £1 to avoid a stab, that's the deal of a lifetime, sort of thing.
What comes to mind is I think there is a city in Great Britain somewhere where it's legal to shoot a Welshman after dark.
York, which is obviously, the main city in Yorkshire. We hate.
Another town in
But only if
Wales has the same story. I think there's a few towns that have that myth. I don't know what to call it, but I've heard it a couple different places.
Still, it's a fun myth, but the detail makes it great, because the detail is, but only if you're using a crossbow.
No, it's a longbow.
I heard it with a crossbow.
No, it was a longbow because obviously back then it was required that every Englishman from his teenage years would at least once a week have a longbow lesson, so that if Britain ever had to go to a large-scale war, they would have ready battalions of skilled archers to kill people with. It's why the longbow was always the British weapon.
Interesting. Still, carrying a longbow with you, just to kill a Welshman?
Well, some would say it's worth it.
I think the story is there was an attempted assassination on, I don't know if it was a lord or a king. It didn't work out, and I guess that day he was just so angry that he said, if I see a Welshman, he's dead.
So it's basically these.
So it's basically every day for a Yorkshireman, but for a lord.
Except Yorkshire's pretty far from Wales, isn't it?
What, York?
Yeah.
It's quite far from it, but
Yeah, it's in the north.
for some reason we still hate the Welsh.
I really can't comment on, regional rivalries in Great Britain. I'm not well vested in that. I do know that Scottish hate English people. I think everyone hates the English.
Even the English hate the English. The rule of thumb for England is that every other region in England except the one you're living in is inbred.
Huh.
Yeah, pretty much. Although that does remind me of that Simpsons thing with groundskeeper Willie when he's babbling about Scotland, and he's going on. It's like, oh, we Scotland's are enemies. We Scotland's hate the Germans. We hate the English, and most of all, we hate the Scots. Those bloody Scots.
Sounds familiar.
It's pretty much that, but England.
It's very similar to the United States. If you're from the West Coast, anyone else will say you're some sort of hippie. If you're from the East Coast, they'll say you're an elitist. If you're from Texas, you're just inbred.
And gun-toting.
Yeah. If you're from Wyoming, you're just this neutral party of people who... Yeah. No one really knows anything about us, so... Kinda works.
Well, I could give you some German stereotypes for, British people and American people.
Is it true that for German people, Austrians are kind of like hicks?
I think so, but it starts with the Bavarians as well.
Okay, fair enough.
the Bavarians are very proud and everything, but we still think they are.
Well, then in that
inbred
case,
pigs.
that this anecdote is probably true. When it came to do the German dub for the Terminator movies, they wouldn't let Arnold Schwarzenegger do his own dub, because he would sound like a sort of like a hick redneck sort of person to all the German listeners.
I wouldn't say hick redneck, but rather, Austrian.
Yeah.
We don't really have hick or redneck as such. We just use, Austrians.
Austrian is its own
this-
insult.
That makes you
No,
wonder.
it's
That makes you
not
wonder
an insult.
with such hatred towards Austrians. How did Hitler come into power?
Maybe he's the reason we hate Austrians now, but I really don't
Mind
believe we hate
blown.
Austrians. I mean, Falco was a great success in Germany, and that guy was Austrian, and he even sang in Austrian. We just refuse to call the language Austrian people that speak the dialect German in most cases, because, well, it's not.
Would help if it
Fair enough.
didn't have such a weird name in German, because isn't it pronounced like Österreich?
Österreich.
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 Yeah, I give up.
Exactly.
It's been like 5 years since I've been in German classes, so I give up.
Fair enough. But now, we have the proudest... Well, not one... now that Österreich has one of the best actors in the world, we kind of want it back.
Which actor is this?
Christoph Waltz, of course. 2 Oscar nominations and 2 Oscars, so that's not too shoddy.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Have you watched Django Unchained or Inglourious
Oh!
Basterds?
I do.
Okay.
I need to watch both of those actually.
Shame on you.
Although I did recently watch The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage, and it's clearly the greatest film ever.
I do appreciate the sentiment, but in all honesty, it would break my heart to call any Nicolas Cage movie the greatest movie of all time.
It's the greatest
save
movie
for-
of all time
Yes,
because
but-
it's a psychological horror movie, but it's hilarious.
We Germans have a psychological horror movie that's also hilarious, and it's at the cinema right about now, I believe.
Fair enough. It's just because of Nicolas Cage's unintentionally hilarious acting. There's literally a scene where he's wearing a bear suit to go undetected, and he runs up to this like evil woman and just punches her in the face.
I know, it's Nicolas Cage in a bear suit punching witches, but what is not to love about it? But my favorite Nicolas Cage movie is the one where he collaborated with Werner Herzog. The Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New
Oh, yeah.
Orleans. I think Movie Bob did a review of it. I mean, there is a scene where Nicolas Cage is acting out his own imaginary iguanas. Which I do believe aren't actually iguanas, but another type of reptile, because they couldn't get real iguanas. And there's a coked up Nicolas Cage laughing at a guy's soul that is still dancing and shooting the soul somehow. Which makes perfect sense in context. But out of context, I must admit, it sounds quite ridiculous. But that is my favorite movie of all time.
I've been I'm probably neither of you are probably the right people to talk to about this, but I've been rewatching Dragon Ball Kai, which is sort of like the cleaned up, less crap in it version of Dragon Ball Z.
I know of it, but only because I watched Dragon Ball Z abridged.
Oh, Dragon Ball Z Abridged is amazing, but this is literally a quote from Dragon Ball Kai. Other than this, it's pretty damn good. It's when pretty much Goku just arrives and saves everyone, and he's God damn it, Jesse, I might do that thing again.
We're not touching anything.
Well, he just lands and he's like, "Oh, Gohan." He crouches next to Gohan. Gohan, can you hear me? Oh, his neck's broken. He can't hear me.
Oh my! We seem to have a problem here. Gohan's neck is broken.
Yeah, his neck's broken. He then just gives him the Senzu beam, which restores people's health. Not brings people back to life, but restores their health. And he's like, okay, he's all better now. It's unbroken his neck.
So Goku can not only break people's neck, but also unbreak them?
No, he didn't break his neck.
Yeah, I know, but we can assume that Goku, if he wanted to break a person's neck, could probably do so by flicking something at him. But he can also unbreak it, apparently.
Well, it was those Senzu beam things that restore your energy. But it was just sort of his logic. Oh, he's broken his neck, he can't hear me.
But Gohan was still alive, right?
Well, he shouldn't have been. Because it was like, guy he gets kicked in the neck and it's like, oh, I heard his neck snap from here. Oh, his power levels dropped down from 0, and people just don't mention it again. It's like, you can assume he's dead, like his eyes have gone blank and everything in that way that they do. And then only when Goku's got him back on his feet, he's like, oh my god, he was almost dead. How is he back on his feet now? It's like his neck was broken. He should have been.
But if it was only his neck and he was still alive, then he should have theoretically been able to hear Goku. Because,
Exactly.
ears are not below the neck, but above them, and the nerves from the ears pass directly to the brain through the skull, and not the neck.
Yeah.
Just to be a
You're trying to apply humor to a German, Binsy. I'd stop that.
Well, he laughed at first, so I count that as a win.
Of course I laughed, because it's funny.
You remember earlier when you were talking about Caliban, when you were talking about how watching Top Gear, there was Michael Fassbender during an interview?
Yes.
There was another interview with Jeremy Clarkson and an Iranian comedian. And
Was it the bald guy?
I think it was.
Like a fat bald guy that most of the time actually speaks in a fairly posh British accent.
Yeah. And I think the joke
Yeah.
was he was in Germany telling jokes, and he mentioned, I can't remember it word by word, but it was, we've got one Iranian comedian, which is 3 more than Germany. And the Germans looked at him and said, "No, nine. That's not funny. Because that would be a deficit." And yeah, that's the joke.
I gotta admit, I must admit to being German, I don't get the joke, really.
Maybe because German people aren't supposed to have deficit in anything.
I know it's not because we don't have the deficit in anything, but because he's one Iranian comedian, and 3 less than that would be minus Iranian comedian.
That's the joke he was telling.
But doesn't that mean that we've all, I don't know, how do you get a negative comedian? Did we kill them, or?
Well, I think it's like,
There are
to
no
have
comedians in Germany.
To have negative money would to be, to have like so much debt that it overly counts how much money you have.
It was about that we don't have comedians in Germany, not Iranian comedians.
No. You basically just gave credence to his joke.
Jesse, you're doing that thing again that I was doing of applying humour to a German. Although, admittedly, you did it in a way where he fulfills the punchline of the joke. But
Yes, I do, but yeah. We do have some great comedians in Germany, though, I must say. We genuinely have some very funny people who are very much German, and not, imported from other countries.
Well, we import your lager, so you should import our comedians. It's a fair trade.
I do love Monty Python.
Oh, yeah. Britain does have some fantastic comedians.
Yes, that's, the stereotype in Germany for Britons. You're all very posh, you all drink tea, and have a fucked up sense of humour.
I have a fucked up sense of humour, more fucked up than my peers, I will admit, because basically every time I make a joke that goes over what I would consider to be the minimum line, I always get looks. But, no, I don't drink tea. That's a thing. I don't like tea.
And I must say, I'm very disappointed. The best posh British accent I ever heard was from a Russian chick.
Oh, yeah. Was this one of 2 Russian chicks that you happened to mention to me at some point?
Yes, she had the best British posh accent you could ever imagine. I mean, there were British people there, and they were astonished.
Fair enough.
Calling them
Really?
Russian chicks is pretty sexist, Caliban.
No one
Oh
cares.
yes, I'm very sorry. Of course, I meant Russian individuals of the female persuasion.
Russian wenches.
Russian birds.
I think you have to have like a particularly like specific English accent to get away with calling women birds.
I know. That's why I was saying it.
It's like, oh, I've got some
You either
Russian
need,
birds, haven't I, mate?
You need either the accent or you need to be incredibly good looking, like, I don't know, George Clooney or Brad Pitt. I'm pretty sure they get away with everything.
Yeah, but the sort of person that calls women birds in England drink Strongbow and beat their wives, shall I say.
Oh yes, so bird is basically, from the wife beater.
Pretty much.
I did not know that, so yeah.
For instance, do you know what a chav is?
Yes, I know what a chav is.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, pretty much, I'd be dating such and such person and have sort of the disgusting chav person come up to me and go, "Hey, Jack, what you doing?" "Not much." "How's your bird?" And I'm like, "Fuck off."
I thought that, bird was, something like flirtatious, calling them, because, birds are small
I think that's
and
what
pretty.
they're trying to be like, but quite frankly, people like that shouldn't be flirting with anyone, and it doesn't come off like that at all.
You mean they should be eliminated from the gene pool?
Now I'm wondering, because
I'm just implying it heavily.
some British use the word bird. I'm wondering, did the word chick come from like U.S. servicemen who went to.
I'm pretty sure.
Britain?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure chick is just an Americanism.
We just took the word bird and changed it to chick and brought it back with us.
Yeah, pretty much. Much like you took a I can't remember the title of it, but a French spy movie, that was very successful. You took it, made an American version rather than dubbing it over. You made your own version. It was then dubbed to various countries, including France, where it was very successful.
That's not a good sign for the French film industry, is it now?
No.
By the way, is it true that the Americans are also remaking this great French comedy, which I could give you the name in German, but I don't know the name in English or French, about the handicapped guy in a wheelchair and the black help he has?
That's probably going to end up being terrible.
I don't recognize it.
It's one of the greatest comedies I've ever seen in my life, because just great black humor and everything, and, inappropriate jokes galore, but I can't really, I can't imagine the Americans making anything proper of it.
If that's what you enjoy, that's the sort of humor you would enjoy just having conversations with me.
Probably, yes, I enjoy
See, that's
dark
the thing
humor.
is that I have literally 2 friends that I don't have to limit my humor. Out of everyone that I know, I have 2 friends that I don't have to limit my humor in any way.
I have one friend like that.
Yeah.
And my father, who, strangely enough, always manages to go below my jokes in, taste and appropriateness.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed by that.
I'm considered
Fair
rather boring. I don't really have bad humor.
I remember I was talking to one of my such friends about it, and he was talking about he'd been at a party and he tried to sort of break the ice with a joke, because someone had accused him of being racist, sort of like jokingly accused him of being racist. And he just turned around and said, "I'm not racist, because racism is a crime and crime is for black people."
Ooh.
Oh God, that's Ooh. No,
They all just looked at him.
I think my best moment was with a friend of mine when I played Spec Ops: The Line. It was his PC, and he watched me play it because he wanted to, enjoy watching me play through it, because I, was kind of smug about it and saying that I would enjoy it greatly and stuff like that. And then I picked up an AK-47, and my comment was, the AK-47, 10 million child soldiers can't go wrong with that one.
I remember
The guy just looked at me completely dumbfounded.
my friend Dean was on a train once, and it got delayed for ages, and they didn't know why. And obviously, you very rarely talk to strangers on trains, but one of them just kind of awkwardly, sort of jokingly went, "Oh God, it's taking ages now, isn't it?" Yeah. 10 minutes later, the train starts up again. My friend Dean just turns to the guy and goes, "Any moment now, we'll just feel the bump of rolling over the person that threw themselves onto the train tracks."
Actually, that's probably the most common reason why trains I have been in have been delayed.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
I do have to say though, I
won't
met some.
I won't go into detail about it because it will probably offend people. But I went to Auschwitz, and the first thing I did when I walked out was made a Holocaust joke.
That is taking, that's a really new level. But if I did that, I am German. If I did that, I would probably be arrested on the spot, executed, and then dragged off for torture.
Probably. Poland's lovely, by the way.
That may or may not be. I know that the farm that belonged to my great-grandfather is now in Poland.
No, but literally, obviously, aside from Auschwitz, Poland is actually, aside from that, a very nice place, because we were staying in this beautiful sort of hotel near this massive city square, and there were all these sort of hand-assembled stands from logs, where the locals would just sort of sell stuff. Like, there were people selling pipes, there was someone selling animal pelts.
If the German jokes are to be believed, they all have really nice cars.
Until you
Because
burn
they just
them.
steal ours.
I think that they kept all the vehicles out of that square, so I didn't really see any. But
I know, it's because in Germany we have the prejudice that Poland steal all our good cars.
And the Polish believe the Germans burn their cars every time they lose a game.
I don't think if
And
the
the Irish
Polish
just burn each
believe
other's
that, or
cars.
if that's, actually a hard
The
fact.
Irish burn their own cars.
Think about the French. They don't even have to lose a game to burn their cars. There's even, a funny song about how romantic it is to sit in a nice little cafe with a lady and watch the cars burning in the street. Because it's such a nice light and everything, and she looks so beautiful in the flames.
Oh, Jack, going back to about trains. You had mentioned how sometimes you meet the oddest people on trains and buses and all that. I was on a Greyhound, and actually the people sitting next to me were a British couple from Hull. And we exchanged information, and for the last, I'd say, about 7 years, we've been pretty good pen pals.
Fair enough.
So you can meet some good people. And then
Yeah.
99% are crazies cutting each other's heads off in Canada. But
I met Santa Claus on a bus once. He was an older gentleman with a white hair, long white beard, a very Christmassy sweater, a green jacket, and boots to go with that. The man literally looked like the embodiment of everything Santa Claus ever.
was he
Fair enough.
traveling to Sweden?
I don't know. He was on a bus that would take him to the train station. Maybe from there on out, took the train to Sweden.
I'm just thinking
But I'm
Sweden
still-
has that. I don't know if it's Sweden or Finland. One of the two countries has a big Santa Claus get together.
I don't know where that is, but I want to. I don't know. I think little children would love it there.
What's Oktoberfest like in Germany?
There are lots of foreigners there who get drunk. The beer is very expensive and usually quite bad. Because, with the big mugs, they can't really clean all the soap water out of them. So they just, fill more beer into the soap water. The food's terribly expensive and extremely high caloric. And it's just the biggest party in the country.
Aside from that last sentence, it sounds quite depressing. Oh.
Well, you're usually so drunk that you don't care that the beer is bad, that the food is fat. Or that there are lots of people who don't understand you. And you don't care that people just, wee under the table because they're too lazy to get up.
Grim.
And then, so what happens when the foreigners leave? Is that when you actually have your party?
I am not at leisure to share this information with anyone.
Ah, state secrets.
Yes, exactly. If I did, they would bust my door down and, do horrible, very German things to me.
Horrible, very German thing.
Yes, German torture. Very efficient.
Oh, yeah.
They would shove me into a room that is not completely perfectly orderly and prevent me from making order.
10 hours of audio recordings of Angela Merkel just talking about
You
the
would-
economy.
You would walk in to see a perfect line made up of 100 sets of dominoes. You'd walk in just in time to see it get knocked over.
We Germans have Domino Day. We greatly enjoy Domino, and if I get to walk in right as it's knocked over, I would very much enjoy that.
Damn.
What would irk me, or what would irk the OCD German probably is, if there was a perfect line of anything with just one thing being only slightly out of place, and he's not allowed to, correct it.
Fair enough.
Or, I don't know, listening to any politician talk about anything really. That's probably, just
Like
too boring.
the governor of I want to say maybe the governor of somewhere, California, I think, is trying to have less guns in video games.
Jerry Brown's trying to do that?
No, it was a woman, I think.
No, the governor right now is Jerry Brown.
Okay, maybe not. It wasn't California, but fine. It was the.
Well, I think it was a senator.
somewhere.
I think it was a senator in California. So I don't think it was the governor, but I think I know what you're talking about. It's someone there.
Less guns in video games, yeah, that's going to go well.
That won't work.
Can't see that, being a problem at all for anyone, ever.
I mean,
Nowhere.
in the
Nope.
grand scheme of things, I'm pro-gun, but surely getting rid of the non-existent guns isn't the way to do it.
Nah, I don't think so.
Halo 5, now with squirt guns.
No, Halo 5, now with more walkie-talkies. And pointing your finger at people who you don't like.
It's just a Master Chief running around punching grunts.
I would play that game.
That's all I do. I
Halo was
don't even bother shooting him. I run up and punch him with my fist.
I just like
Yeah.
popping them with the pistol.
If Halo was completely melee focused, I think it would sell really well.
The
Just give the people...
the best time I had with the Halo game was the most recent one. I was playing Spartan Ops, and one of the later missions, you are going up this hill, and they just drop a huge ton of grunts, and you're thinking, I have a vehicle, I'm just gonna run them over. As soon as you get close, and I think there are about 12 grunts, every one of them goes suicide, and pulls out 2 stickies and starts charging you. And they do it when you get so close to them that you can't stop the vehicle. And
So what do you do?
blow up.
I flew very far. But I didn't die. My vehicle was gone, but I managed to land with a little bit of health left. But it was just a moment of sheer panic where, oh my god, they all, ah! And then you're flying in the air, and yeah.
I was playing Far Cry 3, and basically there are these side missions you can do, and they are supply drop missions. And basically you get on a quad bike that has a little satchel of supplies in the front, and you have a couple of minutes to get to this destination as fast as you can. And basically that means going at full pelt, very likely going off-road and just kind of trying not to crash and die. Just try and get there within the time limit. And basically, I came round into the village, past, sort of, into the village, so it's like, success! But there was the one person waiting for me, just like an NPC that was like, oh, thank you for these supplies! I was just like, because I saw him, I just heard, thank you, oh, thank you, whatever, whatever. I was just like, hitting the brake, no, 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 no! And just crashed right into him, and I was like...
I just started playing Red Dead Redemption for the first time, and...
But can I just say something? Before that point, I had never killed a friendly NPC, so I was just like, what?
How do you make it through a game without killing a friendly NPC? If they aren't useful to me anymore, I cap their asses.
Well, there aren't that many of them, you just kind of bump into them randomly, and I just never bothered to.
What do you mean you don't bother? You never bother to? It takes, aiming at them and pulling the trigger.
I do with most games, I will admit, but I just never bothered with Far Cry 3. I can't really explain it.
Sometimes those friendly NPCs deserve it, though. Because
Oh, yeah.
In Halo Reach and Halo 4, the first death in each game that I had gotten was from a friendly NPC driver running me over in a Warthog.
Oh, God.
It happened in Reach and it happened in 4, and it's the first death I had in both games.
It's kind of, look, there is the Master Chief, our only hope, the only hope for humanity. Oh, I just ran him over, I'm very sorry.
In Reach, he backed into me.
It's just occurred to me something very, very good. When this podcast ends, I can put on Game of Thrones and fast forward through the adverts.
It occurred to me that I have not yet watched the second season of Game of Thrones completely.
That's amazing.
But I read all the books, though.
Oh, yeah, they are good, aren't they?
They are very good, and I enjoy them greatly. I enjoy them even more than the series.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but even though I've read all the books, I'm still watching the series, I'm still loving the hell out of it.
Admit it, it's because of the titties.
Well, I don't need Game of Thrones to get boobs.
But it's, sanctioned boobs because it's on television and therefore culture.
Yeah, but also Peter Dinklage.
The what?
Tyrion.
Ah.
Peter Dinklage is the midget that plays him, and he's 1,000 times better than Warwick Davis. I'm going to say that. There's this video you should watch.
And
on
who's
YouTube.
Warwick Davis then?
Warwick Davis is an English-British midget. He's a British midget who's an actor. And basically, him and Peter Dinklage are like the two midget actors in popular culture.
Okay, what... The other guy, was he the one in Bruges? The film, the movie In Bruges, there is a midget... Ah, damn it.
But the point is that there's this thing on YouTube, type it in at some point, it's called Dinkstep, and it's just a dubstep thing someone's made of, like, all the roles that Peter Dinklage has played, and it's incredible. And it did expose me to what is the greatest Peter Dinklage quote in the history of mankind. Well, the greatest anything quote in the history of mankind, and it's, if my aunt had testicles, she'd be my uncle too.
I can't argue with that. Oh God!
But it's especially funny when you know he's Tyrion, and then you realise that so many of Peter Dinklage's roles kind of devolve into him being this like badass womanizer or something.
Maybe he's just, that's the way he is, and people just film him whilst he's doing that.
Probably.
In costume.
He looks like because he looks a bit different than most people with dwarfism. He looks like a really small Hugh Laurie.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does. It's brilliant.
And I like Hugh Laurie as well, so what's not to like about the dwarf Hugh Laurie?
Oh yeah, I saw a picture and it was Hugh Laurie signing a T-shirt, and the T-shirt already had a caption on it because it said, "Sign here if you think Hugh Laurie is sexy."
I saw that picture, yeah. I think Hugh Laurie would have signed that the instant he, knew of its existence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to, finish watching Season 2 of Game of Thrones and then start watching Season 3.
The assault on King's Landing from Blackwater is absolutely amazing.
I'm willing to believe that. It's
George
great
R.
part
Martin
of the book.
wrote the episode personally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But you should, can't you just, get back to writing more books?
I know.
I don't want to ask how long it is because there aren't really that many Starks left for him, but...
I was talking to a friend of... a friend. who works in sort of the local shop, and we always have conversations about things like that whenever I go in. And he was like, I've noticed a relatively disturbing trend with authors that I've taken a liking to, sort of starting when I was a teenager. I mean, there was Terry Pratchett, who now has Alzheimer's. There's such and such who's dead. There's such and such who's dead. There's such and such who's dead. There's Robert Jordan who's dead. They all never quite finished what they were doing and then died, or in Terry Pratchett's case, got Alzheimer's. And George R.R. Martin's taking forever with these last 2 books, and he's not the most healthy looking of people.
Yeah, he's not allowed to die.
Yeah, it was just like, if your curse gets
Maybe we
George
should
R.R.
drown
Martin
him.
killed, I will kill you.
But I must say, I'm a huge fan of Terry Pratchett. So I've read everything he ever published in the Discworld series.
Oh, I've got this book on my shelf that I still need to kind of finish reading, and it's the folklore of Discworld.
I've got the Science of the Discworld 1 and 2 with me.
Oh, nice.
And I've written a dissertation on the Discworld in English class, and I got the maximum amount of points for it.
Nice.
It was the depiction of racism in Terry Pratchett's Thud, I believe.
Oh, fair enough.
And real life parallels, of course, because we are in Germany and nothing must ever be light-hearted. Nothing.
Do you watch The Simpsons much?
When I manage to catch them on TV, I watch them.
Well, there's that guy who's the Arnold Schwarzenegger knockoff.
Yes, what's his name, John Bain or something?
Raimi or Wolfcastle or something.
Ah, yes, Wolfcastle, that's it.
Bart's in the back of his car, and it's like, and he goes, "Hey, you don't seem as scary as you do in your movies." And he goes, "I will rip off your face and eat it for dinner," or something along those lines. And then he stops frowning, and they all start laughing, and then he just goes really serious. Laughing time is over.
Sounds very German to me.
Yeah. Well,
Genug gelacht, weiterarbeiten.
When they got him to do President Schwarzenegger in the Simpsons movie was incredible.
Yeah.
Mr. President?
I really liked
yeah,
it. They used in German they used a Schwarzenegger impersonator, I believe, to dub him.
Oh yeah.
Which was really uncanny.
Fair enough. Well, they probably used a similar person, or if not the same person, that they have to impersonate Arnold Schwarzenegger on The Simpsons.
I don't know.
Because I do impersonations, I was looking with quite a lot of interest in this guy. He does it's Dan Costello, who does a lot of voices on The Simpsons, basically talking about his characters. And just this bit that made me laugh was when he was talking about Homer Simpson, and he just kind of goes into a Homer Simpson voice, which I can't do, by the way, so that's why it's not going to work. But he goes, "Oh, well, Homer's just got a little bit of Mr. Magoo in him," and it just made me laugh. Just because, have you ever heard Mr. Magoo?
But I have to admit something. At the moment, I'm more of a Family Guy man than a Simpsons man.
Yeah, I've kind of gone off both of them in the most recent seasons.
I think the last season of this current season of Family Guy had some very good episodes, actually.
Maybe. I just feel like Seth MacFarlane kind of beats you over the head with his own political point of view, and he's started doing it where every episode has to have some kind of deep emotional ending, and it's just like, no, it's a fucking comedy.
Yeah, but the exact opposite of that at the moment is How I Met Your Mother. I think the writers just completely lost their shit when they realized that you have, 2 seasons left or 1 season left, and they don't, have to worry about anything anymore, so they just went crazy with whatever idea they had.
Yeah, it does seem quite strange. What I don't get is that Barney had a problem getting over his lack of one-night stands because he was now engaged, when he had already been engaged before, in the previous season.
Yeah, but they needed to create drama,
I know, it's just ridiculous.
The horror of having to sleep with Robin every single night. Can't you imagine the poor guy's fate? I mean, isn't it just too much to be engaged to such a beautiful woman and to have to make sex to her every night? I mean, can you imagine
Did
that?
You say make
fate?
Sex?
Sorry, yes, make love, my bad.
Oh god, I'm just reminded of, have you ever heard of a book called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime?
Yes, I have read that book.
And the main character is this kid with really severe Asperger's syndrome.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying, whenever he references this affair that his dad had, he keeps saying he was doing sex with this person, and it was like...
Ah, yes, it's... Oh, I mean to make love with, Robin Scherbatsky.
Yes.
A fate worse than death, apparently.
Who was a minor character in the Avengers movie.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
I really liked the Avengers movie as well, and, having a Robin in a tight black leather suit, there's still worse things than that in life.
Yeah.
Especially if she's, sharing screen time with Scarlett Johansson in a tight black leather suit. There are worse
Who
things
keeps
in life.
landing in that position.
Exactly. I mean, apparently it's quite, it's probably how she learned to land. I can't imagine why her master would teach her that to land that way.
Yeah, there'd just be all the students like doing sort of the land and roll and come up on your feet, and then he just takes her aside and makes her do that.
Because it's more efficient for her, apparently, because, yes, she's special.
Yeah, your center of gravity is lower to the ground than everyone else's.
Exactly. Wait, shouldn't it be higher?
Ah, I get you.
Also, Robin looks really, similar to the girl from Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter.
Are you sure they're not the same actress?
No, they aren't the same actress, they just look very much alike.
Fair enough.
And I must say, despite all of Bob's criticisms of the movie being a misogynistic piece of crud and everything, misogynistic, my bad, it's actually very entertaining.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I mean,
I did like that movie.
Mind you, I want to enjoy Jack the Giant Slayer just because I am a Jack, and I feel like it's homage to me.
I couldn't enjoy it because I'm a giant.
Oh, okay, I'll kill you next time I see you then, and we can act it out.
Damn it.
Yes.
Did you see the new Live Free and Die Harder?
Yes, didn't like it very much.
Oh, I went in there with no expectation, and I came out thinking it was a great movie.
I went in there and, I was entertained, of course. It was an action flick with krach boom everywhere.
Yeah.
And, cool voices and, cool lines and everything exploded at some point, but I've seen better action movies this year.
I was going to ask, do you prefer watching films in the cinema or at home?
I do very much prefer to watch them in the cinema. I go about once a week, if not more often.
I get what you mean. I think most of the time I do. The one exception was when I was on a date, and we went to see Woman in Black, and the audience kept screaming, and especially when the Woman in Black comes down at him from the ceiling, and she's shrieking. That shriek was immediately drowned out by the audience's shriek.
Clever you. Going on a horror film with a date is always advisable because, heart rate goes up and everything, and she will make the connection that it was you who made her heart rate go up.
She picked it, so it wasn't really my idea. It was a choice between that and, we narrowed it down after she stopped me from taking her to see the Muppets movie.
But why? I can't imagine.
That's what I said. And she nearly made me have a fit by pretending that she wanted to see Alvin and the Chipmunks 4, or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh.
Okay, the date would have been over right then. I would have just, I'm sorry, I can't be with a woman who doesn't love the kind of movies I love. It's over.
Well,
I
would
can't
have
do
just
it.
been I can't be with a woman that wants to see Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, that's probably, you want to see Alvin and the Chipmunks? Well, have fun with your furry friends then.
Oh.
Which, by the way, was not intended as a stinger against the furry community. I have nothing against them before I get a bazillion messages claiming that I hate everyone, but no, it's just,
Well,
the chipmunks are small and furry.
but they actually filmed part of A Woman in Black near my village.
Cool.
Yeah, have you seen Woman in Black?
I know what?
Have you seen The Woman in Black?
Yes, I have.
Well, the rich people he stays with.
Ah, yes, I
Their
know that
house
one.
is a house that's near the village that I live in.
Cool.
Mind you, he basically just kind of spent all the time he wasn't filming, just kind of set up in the nicest pub in the village. So it was just kind of like a local thing that Daniel Radcliffe's in the village.
Huh.
Of course, then I actually once got mistaken for him, which was hilarious.
I would have just run wild with it. Of course,
No,
I'm Daniel Radcliffe.
well,
Yes, want me
it
to
kind
sign
of
something?
Collapsed because I was just walking up the road and I heard this shriek. And I turned and this fat middle-aged woman waddled through what was for Grassington's main road fairly busy traffic. Came up to me, realised I had brown hair instead of black, and that I was a bit taller than him as well. And just went, "Oh," and just walked off. And I was like, "Well, that was nice."
That was different.
It was.
Yeah, next to my hometown, we are also, my hometown is quite famous worldwide as well, I believe. Well, next to my hometown, the town that's there.
Oh, we do have someone who actually lives here who's better than Daniel Radcliffe.
You have?
He's been
Who?
knighted. I'll give you a hint. He was in
You know-
a popular sci-fi series.
I must admit, I don't really... Popular sci-fi series, you don't mean Star Wars, do you?
No.
Damn it. That's when,
Okay, fuck it. Okay, I'm just going to point this out. Patrick Stewart is on
okay.
The More That My Family Looks After.
if Patrick Stewart lived near me, I would have him do my... everything that required a voice. The guy has the best speaking voice ever. I would have him do my mailbox. Hello, this is Patrick Stewart. You reached CalibanButcher. Please
You
leave a
don't
message.
have to hide your name on here. Everyone just calls me Jack.
I know, but my name is quite unique, and I don't know why, but it's kind of a
Well,
reflex.
to be fair though, we had a Dutch person on here called Tjort Doma.
Yes, that is a strange name.
Okay, so go for it. What's your actual name?
My first name is Peter,
Okay.
and last name is Pietruk. Fuck you too.
Sorry. Oh god.
As I said, I usually hide it.
Well, my last name is
Now you know
Binns,
why.
So
Yeah, but bins. What does it came from? It sounds a bit,
why do-
Does it have a meaning or anything?
well, apparently it means hollow. Well, it has two meanings. The most recent one is hollows, because my family were lords in Yorkshire, and we suspect that their original home was near some hollows in the landscape or some shit like that. They lost their lordship when the frigging Normans invaded. Anyway, and then tracing it back further, possibly to not German, but like a Germanic sub-language. Apparently, it meant a leader of men.
Yeah, because there's Binsen in German, which is basically, I think it's a kind of plant. It's not a really impressive plant, but it's very close, similar to your name. There is no there's nothing that's about leader in German that's about
As
Bins.
I said, it was like wasn't German, but it was like some Germanic sub shit thing.
Okay. But about your town being famous. Apparently my town, the town I am originated next to, is quite famous because it's as the first case of cannibalism in recorded history.
My town has it's a village, but that was a town. It had
it
a
was from,
murderer
it's-
who was a local blacksmith called Tom Lee, who needed more money, so he stole gold off of a cart, got shot trying to make his escape, went to a doctor, who obviously took the Hippocratic Oath, so he couldn't say anything about taking the buckshot out of the guy's arse. But then the guy was at a bar that the blacksmith coincidentally owned, and he saw him like talking to some friends and got really paranoid and thought he must have been talking about him. So he got his apprentice and him to like wait in this field that the guy was going to be passing through while he was moving on. They clubbed him to death and threw him in this part of the river that is now known as the Doctor's Bath.
Still, what I was trying to refer to was not cannibalism in modern history, but back in the
first one
Stone
with
Age.
recorded history.
Yes, because apparently back then there was a huge cult. Either it was a huge cult and people just brought their death and had them club their brains in and eat them. Yum. Or we were just all cannibals and just raided near villages and even far away villages and regions for human meat.
Crazy.
Yep.
Have you ever watched Torchwood?
Yes, I've seen. No, I haven't really watched it. I've seen a few episodes. I
Well,
believe.
there's an episode where they find like a Welsh village where the entire community has become cannibals, and they've got like meat freezers full of human flesh.
Delicious.
Jesse.
We left before then.
Yeah. Well.
Maybe that's the reason why they left.
Yeah, we
Oh,
got
that
out
would be
there
the-
because
yeah.
we were losing family members. Like, where are they all going?
Better leave while you still
These
can. Then.
ham sandwiches taste a bit funky, don't you think?
Why is this called the Hughes sandwich? Wait, my last name is Hughes. Whoa, dear God.
Human.
Uh-huh. But as for my last name, I don't know if it has any meaning whatsoever. I have never found anyone who could give me an answer. And I've even asked a Chinese person when I was in China, and the Chinese can find a sense in anything by translating it into Chinese and then doing something with it.
Yeah.
Even they couldn't make sense out of my last name.
Fair enough.
Not even by interpreting something or translating it a bit and shoving the words around. Nothing.
if I could, I don't know if I can, but I would like to change my family crest.
You have a family crest?
Well, yeah, because like I said, my family used to be lords.
Ah, yes, okay, what is it?
It's, there is actually a reason for it. It's a black face in profile, and it was given as an award for deeds of valor during the Crusades.
Okay.
Which is fair enough, it sounds good, but then that essentially means that my family got where they are by murdering people for worshipping a different invisible man than them.
There are worse things in life. I mean, they could have just murdered people for no reason at all. Wait a second. Yes, as I said, the Crusades were probably a really crazy time back then, you know? Murdering people for different beliefs and different invisible people.
Yeah, anyway. We've been running for a bit over an hour now, and you've probably got another podcast to get to, so let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Alright. Well, let's stop your recording now.
Goodbye, everybody.
It was